good deal of last summer teaching some courses in South Africa. Actually, I wish I was there for the World Cup this year. Bad timing on my part. But they're actually using these devices to teach languages and to teach how to read, because a person who is illiterate can now buy a mobile phone for the equivalent of about $15 US with a video capability and get video reading and writing lessons on it. You know, and in those countries, they're not even using the desktop or laptop. They've gone directly to this type of technology. And we're soon going to see in broadcast, and I don't know whether there's any people from MediaCorp here too, the ability to get any type of audio or video or television channel anywhere in the world. On this laptop, as a matter of fact, I have some software that allows me access to 5,000 television stations live anywhere in the world. So forget the 150, 160 channels on the cable system. We will soon have the ability to get access to any broadcast station live anywhere in the world, which is certainly going to change the television business to a large degree. So, people, 2/3 of the human race now has access to a cornucopia of information. And I don't know if there's any historians or academicians in the audience, but if there is a change in media that's even larger than the internet, the mobile phone, or any one of these devices, this is it. Within our lifetime, we have seen a revolution in media. It has been the greatest change ever in the history of media. For our businesses, or for education, or from commerce, it has many ramifications, because with so large a change, so profound a change, it obviously has to have dramatic effects on society, on culture, on business. I was talking to somebody about marketing earlier today, on almost every sphere of human activity. An era of pervasive information. That's where we live right now. That's 2010, this decade we're starting, which will be different in terms of media and the ability of people to get information than any time in history. Certainly social media. I haven't seen the Facebook, for instance, figures for Republic of Singapore. Does anyone happen to know at the top of their head what the percentage of people on Facebook is now here? How many people are actually on Facebook? I'm using that as an example here. Or social media sites. Okay, it's funny, there's like one or two, and then all of a sudden hundreds of people raise their hands. Okay, you can admit it, it's all right on it. I know there's some people actually talking about tweeting on here and using Twitter out of this talk here. But that is certainly a new change, and a change which will be permanent in terms of the fabric of media, of how people get together. Most of what we know, for instance, about the earthquakes last year in China, or the election and revolt in Iran, comes not from professional journalists, but actually from people who have actually had mobile phones or have had access to social media and reporting behind various layers of censorship. It's changing how people unite and how they get together. In the Ukraine, Moldova, many of the European countries, people now are staging political movements by mobile phone, congregating, organizing things. It's changing politics and culture in ways that we are just starting to fathom. And often in lectures in my classroom, and I know I have at least one of my students here, a Singaporean graduate student, I'm hoping he's in the audience right now, who I taught this past semester, talk often comes to Johannes Gutenberg. And Gutenberg, his invention of the printing press, you'll forgive me if I use this Eurocentric example, because in 1439 he invented the printing press, which had a great revolution in media, but the fact is we know the Chinese invented it 500 years earlier. We know that on it. But his invention of the printing press sparked a revolution, and actually in terms of religion, a reformation in Europe, because all of a sudden it was able to put information in the hands of people. It created a large change in terms of education, culture, and science in the 1400s and 1500s. Obviously, again, a Eurocentric example. But if his invention, which was able to create a number of, I think the figure was 10 million Bibles within 15 years, 10 million publications, I shouldn't say Bibles, it was primarily Bibles, but publications within 15 years, was able to spark a major change in history in that part of the world. What will happen now that 2/3 of the world's population has access to all of the information in the world instantly in the palm of their hand wherever they are. What will be the societal, cultural, and political, nonetheless, business implications of this era of pervasive news and information? And what will the effects be? Because to a large degree, my lecture today is not just on the history of media. It's what can we do? How can we use this? How does it change our lives? What's it going to do to, for instance, the business models of companies such as SPH or MediaCorp, or companies such as my own, where actually I do publish a newspaper. My brother and I publish a small daily newspaper in the American state of Connecticut. And actually it was the smallest of 20 dailies in that state. We're now the 4th smallest, and we haven't grown, so we consider that progress. But the changes, when something, anybody who's been in a bazaar, a souk, or to use the English term, a frilly market, knows that when something changes from scarcity to surplus, there are profound changes in terms of how things are transacted, who has the power of transaction, what the price of content is, and basically what the content itself is. You know, how do you define what the information is, what the content, what the goods and services is?